Hello and welcome to the Fat Doctor podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Ashalami. I believe it's episode 23. It's been a while. Took a little bit of a break. If I'm honest, I needed one, and so I took it. It wasn't planned, but I definitely needed it, and I'm back. I'm back with, I guess, a lot more energy and enthusiasm than I had a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, my children are now on holiday from school, which means, when I sit down to record a podcast, that's when they're busy shouting on their Xbox or, sticking food in the microwave or whatever it is. So it's going to be a bit loud. It's going to be a bit noisy. It's going to be a bit unprofessional. But hey, I think you've all come to expect that from me anyway. So, yeah. I make no apologies. And that is very much in keeping with the theme for this podcast and the upcoming podcasts. I've written down I'm surrounded by handwritten notes at the moment. It all started on Monday, the 13th of July, in the middle of a Mercury retrograde on the day that Mercury was Cazimi, and sitting in conjunction with the sun. I had a therapy appointment, and it was a Monday. It's very unusual for me to go to therapy on a Monday. I usually go to therapy on a Thursday, but we had to reschedule, and I ended up going to therapy on that day. Wasn't really thinking much of it. Came out of my therapy session and wrote down in my journal one, two, three, four words. I had to count there. I'm done being nice! Exclamation mark. That's what I wrote down. I'm done being nice. And some of you might be thinking, Asha, when were you ever nice? And fair play to you, fair point. You may get the impression that I'm not the kind of person that's really invested in being nice, but actually, my therapist will tell you that's not true. I actually do care very much about pleasing people and being nice and being liked and being approved of. And yeah, I got really mad in therapy and I wrote down, I'm done being nice. And then I wrote down a set of new rules to live by. It was a very radical session. I don't know. I feel like I'm entering a new chapter of my life, and the title of the chapter is "I'm Done Being Nice." And I wrote down a set of rules that I really felt that I needed to share with you, and that's what I'm going to do for this podcast episode. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Before I do, though, I thought what I would do is I would read from the Merriam-Webster dictionary some of the synonyms for nice. Like, what does nice mean? Because nice can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people, right? So here are some synonyms and similar words. I'm just going to read from them. Pleasant, delightful, enjoyable, sweet, pleasing, good, satisfying, welcome, pretty, comfortable, soothing, grateful, happy, congenial, gratifying, desirable, attractive, charming, palatable, felicitous, savory. As I read them out, I am realizing that I really am done being nice. And here's where it gets fun. Here are some of the antonyms for nice, the opposite words, if you will. Unpleasant, disagreeable, unwelcome, miserable, horrid, ghastly, unpalatable, obnoxious, distasteful, boring, my favourite, offensive. That's my favourite. Sorry, I should have said the next one. Offensive. That's definitely the one that sort of I reacted to, responded to the most. Offensive, repulsive, tedious, repugnant, wretched, vile, hateful, odious, repellent, irksome, abhorrent, unhappy, gloomy, insipid. Oh, I could go on and on and on. I am done being nice. And I wrote a set of rules to live by, if you will. I wrote them out, I typed them up, I printed them because I finally have a printer that works. Here they are. I'll share them with you. You're welcome to print your own copy out if you like. Feel free. Open source material. No need to credit me. No copyright. Just it's yours for the taking. Here are my rules for living by as of Monday, the 13th of July, 2026. I'm done being nice. Number one, stop following the rules that were designed to make you smaller or disappear altogether. I'm just going to read them. I'm not going to explain them. You can make what you will of them. Number two, don't worry about being cancelled. Number three, don't waste your time trying to be agreeable. Don't modify your tone. Don't fix your face. Don't smile more. Number four, skip the small talk. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Number five, and I feel like this needed to come up because, I needed to reassure myself, and this came up a lot in therapy. Remember that you're pretty fucking great, actually, no matter what you were told growing up. I don't know who needs to hear that one, but yeah, I'm pretty fucking great. Whether or not you agree with that statement, I am still pretty fucking great. I just realised it's very dark in here. I do live in Scotland. That's not my fault. So I'm just going to turn the light on. Let there be light. Number six, stop apologising when people don't like something you say or do. Only apologise when you've done something wrong. Number seven, and this is just all in bold. I've also put this on a sticky note and placed it up in my office for me to see at all times. Abandon all hope of success. I really needed to hear that one. Number eight, accept the fact that no matter how hard you try, you are going to fuck up sometimes, and that's okay. Number nine, when they go low, feel free to go lower. In brackets, they started it. And number 10, embrace being nasty. You're blunt, rude, messy, and disagreeable. Be proud of that. When I was growing up, I was told I was nasty. It was a word that followed me as throughout my childhood. You're the nasty child. And I was, if I'm honest, I was I was a bit of a pain in the ass. I was grumpy. I was moody and unsavory and gloomy and disagreeable and miserable and horrid and distasteful. And I was a truth teller, and people didn't like that. So yeah, I mean, it was fair to call me nasty. I was a bit nasty, and I'm gonna be embracing that from now onwards. I'm done being nice. I really am. Now, I wrote this set of rules for myself, and the second thing I did was write another set of rules, basically that says, and this is in my diary, literally, it's like here, it's all scribbled out, but here it is, it's in my journal, and I've written down, and I'm going to read from it. What this isn't. This isn't an excuse not to handle your emotions like an adult, Asher. You've spent 10 years in therapy. Don't waste that investment. I don't want you to think that I'm suddenly turning into a small child who's just gonna like every time something doesn't go my way. You know, I might do that sometimes because I'm a human being, and sometimes I'm gonna want to throw a tantrum and have a strop. But for the most part, I went to therapy and I invested a lot of time and energy into learning to process my emotions and express them in a healthy way. So I will continue to do that. This is not a way to abandon all of that hard work. This isn't a way to say whatever makes me happy at the expense of other people, right? Like, there's one thing to speak the truth, say what you mean, what's on your mind, but it doesn't mean that you can just say what you want and, hurt other people and just pretend that doesn't matter. I might offend people. Sometimes speaking the truth means other people are not going to be happy about it. That's different from actively causing harm. And I'd like to think that I know the difference. And like I said in what was it, rule number 8, accept the fact that no matter how hard you try, you are going to fuck up sometimes. So I accept that sometimes I'm going to cross the line, and I won't mean to, and I'll have to apologize for that, and it won't be nice. It'll be messy and unpleasant, and no one's going to like it, but that's just part of life, isn't it? Life is messy. But this is not an excuse to just be one of those bros on the internet that just says whatever the fuck they want and gets away with it. That's not what I'm trying to do here. This isn't me abandoning my core principles of standing up for justice and what's fair, for addressing systematic inequalities, for advocating for those who are more oppressed than I am. I'm not abandoning these core principles. That is who I am at the very center of my being, and that doesn't just go away because I'm done being nice. I'm just done doing it in the way that other people want me to do it, or that I've been told I'm supposed to do it. Let's put it that way. I'm done being nice about it. Like I can still stand up against injustice. I can still stand up for fairness. I can still stand up to bullies and express my my concerns about systemic inequalities, health inequalities, economic inequalities, social inequalities. I can do all of those things without being polite about it. You know, you have to do it politely. You can just say what you mean and mean what you say. Here's what this isn't. This is not a rebrand. I'm not just bored and in need of a rebrand. It sort of felt like that for a moment. I was like, well, is any of this new, or is this just you trying to be cute about it? This is not me being cute about it. A lot of this stuff comes up over and over again. In fact, like I said, I've been doing therapy for 10 years and I keep coming back to the same shit every time. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, we've done this already. We've done this. We've done this. We've done it over and over again. Why am I here again? Why? It's the same shit. Slightly different package, but it's always the same flavor of the same thing. So it's not a rebrand. This is me really taking real, active, measurable steps towards changing the way I do life. And maybe it was the Mercury Kazemi. Maybe it is just, fucking hell, 2026. Like you're all here. You're doing this with me. You know what's going on. It's not been great. Maybe this is just my way of coping. I don't care. Maybe I'll look back on this episode a few years from now and just be like, what the fuck were you thinking, Asha? Again, I don't care. It's part of not being nice, I'm just going to say what I think. And, if I change my mind, I change my mind. This is not a way to avoid processing my trauma. Yeah. Because you know how sometimes you're just like, oh, this is too painful. So I'm just going to like throw my toys out the pram kind of thing. That's not what this is. In fact, this is a way of processing trauma. I'm going to have to get real up close and personal with myself, and with the things that I've been actively trying to avoid for a really long time. And it's not nice, but it is what it is. This isn't recklessness dressed up as self-care. I don't want to just be like, fuck it, just go wild. Thinking that, I'm doing what's in my best interest and then, ending up in prison or something. Like I don't actually, I still have some measure of self-preservation. But I have to say, I've tried to do it the right way for a while now. I've been following the rules. I did the courses. I listened to the advice. I read the books, followed the step-by-step instructions, and none of it fucking worked. And now I'm pissed. I'm pissed because it didn't work. They promised me it would, and it didn't. And I can't get my money back either. Like it's done now. They're just like, man, what can we do about it? So I'm stuck here feeling very, very angry that I have been following everybody else's rules and helpful suggestions and 10 steps towards whatever, blah, 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 blah. I've been following that and that's not really worked out for me. So, yeah, I'm kind of done doing that. Um, I guess some of you might be thinking, do you know what, Asha, what's that got to do with the Fat Doctor podcast? Like, why should we care about this? Why, it's good that you've had your big moment. Good for you. Write it down. Keep it to yourself. That's fair. But it's tough shit also. You don't have to care. Absolutely. You shouldn't care. You might be listening to this and thinking, oh fuck, I'm this isn't what I signed up for. In which case, you see yourself out. I promise not to get offended. I promise not to feel rejected or to take it the wrong way. Feel free to see yourself out. You don't need to let me know. I'm busy doing my thing over here. You can keep that to yourself and just quietly exit the building. You don't have to stick around for the new era. of the Fat Doctor, where the Fat Doctor is done being fucking nice. You can just, if you prefer nice, if you like agreeable and pleasant and congenial and satisfying and sweet and like that's there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people might be thinking, "Jill, I don't need this right now in my life. Right now I need something sweet and pleasing." There are plenty of people out there who offer sweet and pleasing. I think you should go and find them if that's what you need. And I wish you all the best. So you don't have to care about this. Don't have to be on board. You don't have to like it, but it's not going to change whether I do it. One of the things that I have been thinking a lot about recently is that I am really done being the fixer. I think this is why I had to take a break from the Fat Doctor podcast. I always feel like I have to come up with a solution. I always feel like I have to fix the fucking problem. And there are a lot of fucking problems out there. And I mean that very sort of, I'm not just saying that I feel like I need to fix all the problems in all the world. I don't have such grandiose ideas, I'm not that deluded. I appreciate that that's not possible. But even in my little corner of the world, the corner of the internet where we're talking about, healthcare inequality specifically as a result of medical weight stigma, it's a specific area that I focus on. But even in that, like I don't have any fixes or solutions. I find that very frustrating because my whole life I've been the fixer. I've been the rescuer. I've been the one that's like, here's what we're going to do. Okay, I see the problem. I see that you're suffering. Here's how we're going to fix it. That's what I do. That's what I've been conditioned to do. That's what I've always had to do. It's how I survived my childhood. More on that later. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a bit tricky when you have to kind of go, yeah, I can't do that anymore. It's kind of like losing a sense of self, like your own identity almost disappears because I am the fixer and I can no longer fix shit. Things aren't fixable. They really not. I wrote an entire book, 300 plus pages, outlining in great detail all of the fucking issues with the healthcare system, in particular, as a result of medical weight stigma and all the lies that we've been told about weight loss. Like, I was very specific, but even then, I wrote down all the things that are wrong. And then at the end, I was like, shit, I've told them all the problems, but I haven't given them any of the answers. And I think that's because there are no answers. There aren't. And I find that very frustrating. I don't know how to live like that. I don't know how to live in a world where you just have to accept that things are shit. There's actually not much you can do about it. But I am learning that sometimes you don't have a fix or a solution and you have to sit with that. And it's not pleasant. But yeah, I guess in doing so, that frees me up. It does free me up. It's actually quite a liberating thing. It's been quite a kind of a pivotal moment for me because when I accepted that I really don't have any answers and I really don't have any fixes and I really can't help people, I'd have clients that came to me and they would have all these issues and we'd talk them through and we'd write down lists and we'd go through all of this kind of like, strategic thinking and like, what are your concerns? What are your expectations? What can we do? How can we help you? How can we meet your needs? And the answer was, fucking hell, like, hello, healthcare inequalities, fat phobia, racism. Like, there's actually really not much we can do in this current system. And so what that does actually is it frees you up to get quite creative. Because when you can't find a workaround, when you can't go through, you got to find a way, up, down, sidestep, move in a completely different direction. You can't just keep hammering at this thing, like hoping that one day is going to give, because it's not. So then you have to find more creative solutions. And I am excited about that. I don't have no idea what that's going to look like, but I just know that it's where I'm headed as a human being and as the Fat Doctor. One of the things I realize is that these podcasts are going to get shorter. I am not going to try and fill half an hour or it used to be 3/4 of an hour of time, of airtime. Sometimes it'll be 15 minutes and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with 15-minute slots. Some people just need a 15-minute pick-me-up. So I think these podcast episodes are going to get a lot shorter because that's all I can manage. And I'm also trying to be very practical about things and pragmatic about things. I have already released a practical guide to navigating healthcare as a fat person with joint pain. It's called My Joints Hurt. It's now available to purchase on Amazon. So you can get a paper copy, a print copy, you can get a Kindle copy, and if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. You just borrow it. So it's called My Joints Hurt, and it's part of the Way Forward series. Yeah, that's right. The Way Forwards, WEIGH, because come on now. You know I'm a genius when it comes to wordplay. I'm going to do so many more of these. I have like a list. I think there's at least 15 conditions on this list. And they're going to follow the same formula. And if you've read one, you might be like, well, this sounds very familiar. The second one, yeah, following the same formula, literally just switching it around from condition to condition, condition. And I'm covering the whole gamut from like, I'm just beginning and I've never even heard of weight inclusive healthcare before, to I've tried everything and I'm not getting anywhere. Like, and everything in between is going to be very practical, very easy to read, very kind of like you pick this thing up. You can even take it with you to your actual appointment. Like you can highlight it and you can read from it because I just wanted to make something really practical for people. That's one of the workarounds, right? Because I cannot fix the system. I cannot make your doctor into a decent human being. I don't have the means to do that. And I don't think it's possible because I think a lot of doctors just aren't decent human beings. They're the opposite of decent human beings. And there's no point trying to make a shithead turn into a nice person. Like I am not a fairy godfather. So this is like a workaround. Just like a book. Now it's not a fix. It's not a solution. I don't. I'm not claiming that this is going to change your life, but it's practical. It's yeah. It's out there. It's available. I've tried to make it as freely available as possible. So as I said, you can get it on Kindle Unlimited. That's all I've got time for today, folks. Like I said, short and sweet. The opposite of me. I am short, but I'm not sweet. I'm bitter. All right. I'll see you next week, where we will be talking about what? Like, well, hang on. Oh, shit. What paperwork? Oh yeah, I wrote down the list of all the podcast episodes. The next episode is called "There Is No Solution." I bet you're looking forward to that. What a lovely way to end. There is no solution, folks. I will see you then. Oops, now I have to turn this off. Oh, so much paper. See you then.